Good morning. Today's discussion is on God's nature. We've been talking the last few times about gradation as an argument for the existence of God. And I've talked about things that we see in the world like goodness, truth, and beauty as having perfections that must exist somewhere in order for us to witness their vestiges in the world, things that are good, things that are true, things that are beautiful. Well, ultimately, this leads us to some conclusions about the nature of the being who possesses these traits, these perfections. And I think the most important one for eliminating some world religions as not being the true religion is the fact that God must be one. And this is because among the perfections would be such as power. What is the perfection of power? There can only be one all-powerful being. This is a matter of logic, of reason. After all, if there were two, like, say, the Manichaean religion believed in the early centuries of Christianity, for them, there was a good being and an evil being who were eternally in conflict with each other. And some people, in fact, misunderstand the church's teaching about the devil in this way and imagine him as being as powerful as God. Well, reason tells us that this cannot be, because if there is a power, a perfection of power, then there cannot be another being as powerful as the one who possesses this perfection. It would be a contradiction for this to be the case. So as much as some world religions like Hinduism or the ancient Greek mythology may fulfill man's need for religion, they cannot be the true religion because they are polytheists. They believe in multiple gods, multiple beings. And reason tells us that can't be the case. There are other things that perfections tell us about God's nature. Another would be if he possesses the perfection of goodness, if he is goodness itself, well, then we know that God in his nature is good. He is not only all-powerful, and he is not only omniscient, because to be all-powerful you must be all-knowing, but he must be all-good as well. Well, there's an obvious objection that rises to in response to this, because you may ask, what about evil? If there is a perfection of goodness, well, isn't there a perfection of evil as well? And where would that exist? Because it would seem that it would be a contradiction for God, who is all good, also to possess a perfection of evil. Well, the answer to that is that evil is actually not a thing. Evil is a lack of something. If you have goodness, it lacks nothing. But if you take away goodness, if there is an absence of goodness, well, that would be what we call evil, an absence of a goodness that should be there. And therefore, there is no evil in God. There is no such thing as a perfection of evil. So we have, in other words, we're arriving at an understanding of God as an omnipotent being, an omniscient being, a being who is goodness itself, in whom there is no evil. This is beginning to be a God that one could worship, I would think. Among his other perfections, though, there would be what one would call the perfection of personhood. And the way this comes about is, in the world, we observe that there is intellect and will. We see this in ourselves. We can think about things. We're rational. Well, God would be that being who possesses the fullness of intellect. He is intellect itself. And if he is omnipotent, he has the perfection of will as well. These things exist in a single substance, a being who can think and act on what he thinks. And this is why we would say that God is a person. That's it for today. God bless.